Hello again, and welcome to 99 Nights in the Forest. In this game, you try to unveil the dark secrets of a forest that harbors a bipedal deer, a giant owl, and 4 missing children, of which I've only found 3. This game also runs like hardcore mode on Minecraft if you're playing by yourself, because once you're dead, it's game over unless you're willing to shell out 200 Robux. Oh, and don't even get me started on the part of the forest that's unlocked after you get the campfire to level 5. There's booby traps all over the place that can easily cost you the run if you're being chased by an alpha wolf or a bear. But how does this game work so well to garner over 2.5 million active players as of me writing the script? That's what we're going to answer today. This game is a lot like a Dusty Trip in a lot of ways, including how the map is generated, but I'm going to explain it a little differently, well, because...
The game doesn't use random seeds, dumb.
Whoa, gotta keep it PG here.
I was just quoting one of your comments.
No one said those exact words. Yeah, there are plenty of people saying that I'm either terrible at guessing or Dusty Trip has terrible code, but no one said I'm a stupid donkey. What I was trying to say is that what I say here can be applied to a Dusty Trip as well. The terrain is split up into fairly large parts. Whenever one of these terrain parts first generates, the game checks 2 things. The first is that the part isn't more than a couple of studs higher or lower than any of the parts next to it. The second is that the part isn't more than about 8 studs higher or lower than the campfire. If one of these conditions isn't met, the game will pick a different height for the part and check again. This continues happening until the part is placed at a height that meets both conditions. These parts are organized in a grid system that's handled by a script that governs world generation. An 8x8 grid of parts is known as a chunk. The game will pick random locations for stuff such as trees, buildings containing loot, flowers, animals, and forage. There is a limit on how many of these objects can spawn per chunk, and it depends on the object. The limit for trees is definitely higher than the limit for buildings, for example. To make sure 2 objects don't spawn either in each other or too close to each other, each object has something called a primary part, and the game makes sure that the primary part isn't too close to any other primary part. This is done by taking the difference of the 2 positions and then checking a property called the magnitude of the result. This is how far apart the 2 objects are. There are some other properties of the world generation, such as preventing the generator from crashing if it's impossible to legally place an object, but I'm not going to get into that because I want to talk about...
Curious, I want to eat you.
Okay, I know your name is Awesome Wolf, but I didn't know you could literally be a wolf.
I want to bite you.
Yeah, the enemy AI in this game is pretty dumb. How it works is it goes through every player in the game and checks the position of their primary part relative to the enemies, just like how objects prevent themselves from spawning in places they shouldn't. Whichever player is closest, aka who has the lowest magnitude, is the one the enemy chases after, but the enemy also has to check a couple of other conditions. The first is that the closest player isn't too close to the game's origin while the campfire is lit. If the fire's out, this condition is ignored.
Hello, motherfucker.
How far the player has to be from the origin depends on the enemy. Some enemies, such as the cultists, ignore this condition regardless if the campfire is lit or not. The second condition is that the magnitude of the closest player isn't greater than a value known as an aggro range, with aggro being short for aggravation. The enemy will chase the closest player that meets both conditions. The only enemies I haven't touched on are the 2 stars of the show, the deer and the owl!
Wait, what happened to the owl? This looks nothing like an owl.
So how these guys work is that if you run a certain distance away from the campfire, which can be found with the magnitude from earlier, either the deer or the owl will spawn. Everything that spawns in is copied from a place called the server storage into a different place called the workspace. Think of the server storage as a warehouse and the workspace as a grocery store. You don't see stuff you want to buy in the warehouse, you see it in the store. That's pretty much how Roblox games work, except you don't buy everything you see. At least not yet. After that, the deer works just like any other enemy. If it gets too close to the campfire though, this happens.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs.
After the deer runs off, it's deleted and won't spawn again for the remainder of the night. Flashlights work by making a part that comes out the front. When it touches anything, our good friend touched is used to figure out if the thing it touches is the deer or the owl, and if so, it makes them stop briefly. You know, while we're talking about the flashlight, let's talk about... There are various different items that all do different things, but they all have two things in common. They are all an object type called a tool, and they all have a part called handle. The handle part is what's attached to the player's hand when the tool is equipped. This part is invisible for every tool in the game, since everything is held at different places and orientations. The flashlight uses a mesh for its appearance. Meshes are made outside of Roblox in programs like Blender, and they can be brought into Roblox's special parts. How the flashlight is turned on and off is with a Roblox script signal called activated, which all tools have. That script also keeps a bool for the flashlight's on or off, so that the flashlight doesn't get turned on twice, which would be more destructive than Discord light mode. The script also has a number value for how much battery is left. A service called the run service is used to continually check what the bool value is equal to and to turn the flashlight on or off accordingly. That same service is also used to immediately switch the bool value to false so the battery hits 0. The axe uses the same activated script signal to play an animation and also uses the touch script signal to see if it's touching a tree. The small trees have 13 health. Each axe swing with an old axe takes 1 off, and the good axe takes 3 off, and I don't remember what the super good axe does, or whatever the hell it's called. I've only made it to that part of the game once. Give me a break. The sack is interesting, though, because it's not like any other item. Every player has a folder called sack. When an item is stored, it's moved from the workspace into this folder. Why not the surface storage? Because every player has their own inventory. This is also how your inventory doesn't get reset when you upgrade your sack, because it's actually in the player object. The sack uses a method called getChildren on the player's sack folder and puts a hashtag before it, which means give me the number of thingamabobs in this place. If the hashtag lit method says, bro, there's more than 5 bloods here, then the item isn't stored. Bandages work by finding the humanoid object of the player that's holding them, but how does that happen? When a player equips a tool, that tool literally becomes a part of the player, so that tool can easily figure out which player to heal. The humanoid of each player in NPC has a property called health. Bandages add 50 to that value, which is half of the player's health, and medkits add 100.
The National Defense Service of Roblox has issued a travel advisory for 99 nights in the forest. A cultist group has been spotted about a mile southwest of the campfire. These individuals wear red and black jackets, their masks, and wield spears, crossbows, and maces. This is a life-threatening situation. Please refrain from any non-essential travel to this area.
I will bet 500 Robux that you don't know how this thing, or anything in your camp, even works, you obese sweat.
Oh really? We'll see about that one.
Okay mister, I'm so good at everything. To up the stakes, I'll throw your friend's soul in as well.
I don't know about that one.
I wasn't saying you had any other options.
Okay, let's do this. As you know, everything in this game is built using blueprints. Each blueprint is a tool in the server storage that has a very special name. A function called findFirstChild is used on a folder in the server storage where all the things you can build in your camp are stored. What findFirstChild does is it takes a string, which in this case is the name of the blueprint, and then looks for the actual object with the same name. There's a folder called the replicated storage that has all the holograms for the buildables. Why the replicated storage and not the server storage? Because only you can see the holograms before you build them. The server storage is only for stuff that everyone can see.
Impressive, but can you explain how you just crippled me for life? Oh, and your little bean friend has to do it.
What?
Do it or you're dead.
Look, I've got the script for this video right here. Just read it off and you'll be fine.
Holy crap, we're at page 11 already?
Hurry up already.
Okay, so these bear traps have these thingies,
Parts.
and when you touch them, a Roblox script signal.
You ain't gonna see tomorrow if you keep this up.
Oh crap. That thing, and it's called touch, happens when you touch the bear trap, and it finds the player's humanoid and takes away about 10 health.
Do I look like a player to you? You're missing something important.
If statements, awesome. If statements.
Oh yeah, an if statement is used to figure out if the thing that stepped on the trap is a player using a function called getPlayerFromCharacter. if it doesn't return anything, it actually subtracts about 50 health.
You're so wrong. You couldn't ever be more wrong. You'll never see the light of day again.
Well, I think we should end it here. I think we need a breather after that one.